a mysterious girl on the streets, a broken woman in a wheelchair, and a millionaire haunted by guilt. But when fate brings them together, a shocking truth is revealed that changes everything. The sun beat down on the busy streets as Arian maneuvered his wife Mira's wheelchair through the noisy, chaotic market. Colorful stalls lined the sidewalks, vendors shouted prices, and life buzzed around them. Yet, for Arian and Mira, the world had lost its color long ago. Mira sat silently, her eyes dull, her body still. It had been 3 years since the accident that left her paralyzed from the waist down. Once vibrant and full of laughter, now she barely spoke. Arian tried everything: doctors, foreign treatments, therapies, but nothing had worked. Guilt clung to him like a shadow. From the side of the street, a small figure emerged, a frail, dirt-streaked girl no older than 12. Her clothes were torn, her hair matted, but her eyes gleamed with something fierce. She moved through the crowd like a whisper, her tiny hand outstretched, asking for food. Arian noticed her only when she stopped suddenly and stared directly at Mira. The child's expression shifted from hunger to something deeper: recognition, almost awe. Then, in a voice too calm for her age, she said, "Sir, I can make your wife walk again." Arian blinked, stunned. People turned to look. Some chuckled. He frowned. "What did you say?" The girl stepped closer, undeterred by the stares. "Your wife. She doesn't have to live like this. I can help her." Arian's first instinct was anger. Was this some cruel joke? He waved her off. "Go away," he muttered, trying to wheel Mira forward. But the girl followed, weaving through the crowd, matching their pace effortlessly. "I'm not lying," she insisted. "I've done it before. Please, just give me a chance." Arian stopped again, studying her face. There was no desperation in her tone, no trickery in her eyes, only quiet certainty. Mira turned to look at the girl, her brow slightly furrowed for the first time in weeks. The market noise faded as Arian was pulled into memory. Mira dancing barefoot in the rain, her laughter echoing in his ears. The accident came next: screeching tires, broken glass, hospital lights, and a sentence that shattered their world. She'll never walk again. Back in the present, Arian exhaled deeply. He looked down at the girl, this strange, wild-eyed child from the streets, and something inside him shifted. "Fine," he said slowly. "You have 5 minutes." The girl smiled, and in that moment, it felt like the air itself had changed. Arian brought the girl home that very evening. Her name was Tara. She stood at the gate of the grand mansion, barefoot and awed by the towering pillars and polished floors. The servants watched with suspicion, whispering behind her back, unsure why their master would let a street child through the door. But Arian had made up his mind. He didn't believe in magic, but there was something about Tara, something neither money nor medicine had offered in 3 long years. Mira sat stiffly in her wheelchair, arms crossed, her gaze fixed on the floor. She hadn't spoken since morning. When Arian introduced Tara, Mira looked up slowly, her expression a mix of disbelief and quiet annoyance. "Another healer?" she asked flatly. Arian didn't answer. He just gestured for Tara to begin, but the girl raised a hand. "There is one rule," she said, her voice steady. "You must not interrupt me for 7 days. No questions, no interference." Arian frowned. "Why?" "Because doubt kills healing," she said simply. It sounded absurd, but Arian agreed. He had cameras installed in the room, quiet, hidden, watching. If anything went wrong, he would know. Tara began that night. She used no herbs, no chants. Instead, she pressed along Mira's legs, carefully and silently, as if reading a story only she could see. She murmured old names, terms that didn't match any known medical system. Arian spent that night researching. Nothing came up. No technique, no science could explain what she was doing. Pressure points maybe. Folk therapy, at best. Still, Tara continued without faltering. Mira said nothing, but didn't resist. Something about the girl's touch was oddly comforting. By the third day, as morning light poured through the windows, Mira whispered something Arian hadn't heard in years. "I felt it." He turned sharply. "What?" "My toes. A tingling, like pins and needles." Her voice trembled. "I thought it was in my head, but it's not." Arian didn't reply, just stared. The servants scoffed, calling it imagination, a child's trick. But Arian had seen Mira's eyes. That light, they hadn't held it in years. Each day, Tara returned, silent and focused. And with each day, Mira grew different. Her lips curled into faint smiles. Her eyes followed the birds outside again. She even hummed once while Tara worked. Arian didn't say a word, but every night he sat longer in front of the surveillance screen, watching the girl as though she held the key to something lost long ago. Arian couldn't sleep. Every night he watched Tara on the surveillance monitors, his mind churning with questions. Who was she? Where had she learned this? How could a girl from the streets do what the world's best doctors could not? By the 6th day, his curiosity burned too hot to ignore. That evening, he told the guards to let her leave unescorted. He waited until night fell, then followed her through the winding streets in his car, headlights off. She didn't go far, just to the outskirts of the city, beneath a crumbling overpass. There, in the cold, she knelt beside a frail blind woman wrapped in a ragged shawl. Tara removed her shawl and laid it gently over the woman, then curled up beside her on the bare concrete. Arian stepped out of his car, heart pounding, and approached them quietly. The old woman lifted her head before he could speak. Her eyes, clouded with blindness, still seemed to see through him. "You're the rich man," she said softly. "The one with the broken wife." Arian nodded, startled. "Who are you?" The woman chuckled. "I'm no one, just a ghost in this world. But Tara has the touch, like her mother and her mother before her. A gift, or a curse, depending on who you ask." "Touch?" Arian whispered. "She can feel where pain lives in others. She moves it, releases it. But people don't understand. They called us witches. Madam. We were chased out of our village, so we became nothing, beggars. But the gift stayed." Arian stood frozen. This girl, living under a bridge, cast out and starved, was saving his wife, saving his life. The next morning, Mira stood. It happened slowly, trembling at first. Tara held her hands, guiding her. And then, just like that, Mira took 2 shaky steps forward. Arian couldn't speak. His throat tightened. Tears slid down his face as Mira collapsed into his arms, laughing through sobs. Tara smiled, quiet and tired. "The healing is almost done," she whispered. But that night, Tara didn't wake. Her body burned with fever. Her breath came shallow. Arian didn't hesitate. He lifted her in his arms and drove her to the nearest hospital. Doctors swarmed her, ran tests, took scans. Hours later, one emerged, grave-faced. "She's severely malnourished, and there's more. She has a heart condition, likely since birth. The stress, the strain. It's too much for her." Arian's chest tightened. The girl who had breathed life into his wife was slipping away. The house was quiet the next morning, filled with a silence so heavy it felt sacred. Mira, once bound to her chair, now walked with slow, careful steps through the marble hallways, her fingers trailing along the walls for balance. Each step was a miracle, each breath a reminder of the girl who had made the impossible real. Arian watched her, eyes swollen from tears, heart split between awe and ache. She had done it. Tara, the street child with nothing, had given them everything. At the hospital, Arian spared no expense. The best doctors, the finest equipment, nothing was out of reach. But it wasn't enough. Tara's small body had been pushed beyond its limits. Her condition had worsened overnight. The staff tried everything, but she slipped away quietly in her sleep, her breath slowing, then fading, like a candle exhausted in the wind. Arian arrived moments too late. She lay still, eyes closed, a soft smile on her lips, as if she knew peace at last. Beside her bed was a small folded note, written in trembling letters. It was addressed to Mira. "Now you can walk. Live for me." Mira read the words in silence, pressing the paper to her chest. Neither she nor Arian spoke for a long time. There was nothing left to say, only a promise to keep. Weeks passed, but grief did not fade. It transformed. It shaped something new. Arian located the blind grandmother and brought her into their home. She resisted at first, unsure how to live among walls and lights after years beneath the sky. But Mira's arms welcomed her gently, and slowly she allowed herself to be cared for. In Tara's memory, Arian used his wealth not to build monuments of stone, but places of hope. A clinic was born, free, open to all, dedicated to healing those the world ignored. It was called Tara's Touch. The opening day arrived under a clear blue sky. Doctors, volunteers, and dozens of families stood gathered outside the new building. At the front, Mira walked, hand in hand with Arian, her steps stronger now, steady and proud. The crowd fell silent as they approached the ribbon. Above the doorway, a mural looked down, Tara's face painted in soft, brilliant colors, her eyes kind, her smile unforgotten. Mira cut the ribbon, and the crowd erupted in quiet applause. A voice echoed, gentle and final. Sometimes miracles wear the face of the forgotten.